All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First off, Zendaya, have we met the Freedom of Information Act requirements for the town of Hilton Head Island?
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay. Do we need to take roll this morning, or are we good to move on to approval of the agenda?
Yes, sir, we're going to take roll this morning.
Okay, if you'd like to call those names, that'd be great.
Yes, sir, Mr. Berghausen.
Present.
Miss Martin.
Present.
Miss Johnson.
Present.
Mr. Thomas.
Present.
Mr. Arnold.
Present.
And I see, Mr. Arnold, that Mr. Fluker is here. He has his video muted, so we're gonna we can continue on with the meeting, but we just want to say that he is here for now.
Okay, is he good to take over, or you want me to keep moving? Mr. Fluker, are you with us? I'm guessing he's having technical issues.
Yes, if we could, I would let you go ahead and finish, start the meeting.
Sure, no issue. All right, no problem. We're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at that before we get started?
Yes.
And if so, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I move to approve the agenda as it stands.
I'll second it.
All right, having a motion and a second, the agenda has been approved for today. Moving on to number 4, the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance?
Mr. Arnold, may I take a roll for that vote?
Yes, sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please do.
That's
Yep,
okay. Mr. Berghausen.
Approved.
Miss Martin.
Approved.
Miss Johnson.
Approved.
Mr. Thomas.
Approved.
And Mr. Arnold.
Approved.
All right.
Okay, now moving on to number 4, the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes from our August 12th meeting? If so, I'm looking for an approval of the minutes, please, or a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Is there a second, please?
Second the motion.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Zendaya, will you take the roll call for approval of minutes, please?
Yes. Mr. Berghausen.
Approve.
Miss Martin.
Approved.
Miss Johnson.
Approved.
Mr. Thomas.
Approved.
Mr. Arnold.
Approved. Very good. Thank you very much. It's now time for citizens to make an appearance. Zendaya, do we have anyone on the line today?
We do. That would be Mr. Hoagland. If you'll bear with me one moment, let me get him in.
Zendaya, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can. If you'll bear with me, I'm getting Mr. Hoagland right now. Mr. Hoagland, can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, we're in the appearance by citizen section, so you are more than welcome to start your comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Morning, Skip Hoagland, Windmill Harbor. Mr. Fluker, what are you and the rest of this committee going to tell the FBI when they ask you who appointed you to commit fraud and knowingly lie and recommend illegal funding of millions to Bill Miles and the chamber? You are all chamber members in huge conflict. Do you all understand you have liabilities tied to this tax scam? The good news, this tax scam is coming to an end. South Carolina Turk just sent a letter to you in this highly dishonest town municipality, and I quote parts of it. Tourism Expenditure Review Committee, Turk, the annual accommodations tax reporting form is due by October 1 per the requirements of section 6-4-10 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. At the bottom of the reporting form on side A, we ask that you name the 30% recipient nonprofit organization, the Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber, but ask for no other information about that organization. A recent Supreme Court ruling filed by me and expert FOIA lawyers Taylor Smith and Jay Bender have changed that. The recent court ruling has been interpreted by our legal counsel to mean the 30% nonprofit organization needs to be approved by you, and the accounting of those funds must be presented to Turk and me. We understand this is a bit of a procedural change for all of us. Mr. Fluker, I now get to FOIA all the accounting of the millions of ATAX, as well as the South Carolina PRT matching grants, hurricane funding scam, some $150,000 plus, Governor McMaster's $1.4 million illegal private COVID relief funding to thief Bill Miles, and the tax money used to join you and this corrupted aid tax committee as private chamber members. You will have to answer to all of that. Mr. Fluker, any further attempt by you, this aid tax committee, town council, town officials, town lawyers, CPAs, auditors, to continue committing fraud on behalf of Bill Miles and this secret sauce tax scam, illegally operated as an IRS 501-C6 nonprofit chamber CVB commingled, will result in forensic audits, I assume arrest, convictions, and prison like happened in Palm Beach, Florida. Mr. Fluker, am I clear? Do you understand what I just said? Do you all understand where this is headed with this illegal secret chamber tax scam? Do you again understand you all have risk tied to this when the FBI asks you who appointed you? You all knowingly continued to approve these funds, knowing that it was illegal to issue the funds and it was illegally being used. You all will have to answer to this. I hope you all understand this. And that's not just y'all, it's the past ATAX committee people as well, especially Brad Merrow that was connected to Bill Miles and this illegal tax scam. You are going to be questioned by authorities. You have to all understand that. That is definitely coming. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, okay? And try to be honest and try to make your families and this community proud. And stop all your corruption. Stop.
Mr. Hoagland, thank you for your comments. We appreciate you calling in. Moving on to item number 6, if we're ready, on to new business. I believe, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fluker is here.
Great,
Yes,
we'll hand it over to Mr. Fluker. Good morning, Mr. Fluker.
Good morning. I am out here because of Android and not because of Apple. So I will had a little problem with the Apple device this morning. So I'm finally here. We're on to new business. Item 6A, the consideration of the proposed calendar for the 2022 meetings. All of you have that in front of you, I suspect. I'll ask at this time if there's any questions about the proposed 2022 meeting dates. Anybody from the committee?
I have none.
Okay. If anybody does, just speak up at this point, or else, or we could go to roll, but if you do, just go ahead and speak up, anybody on the committee. If not, I'd ask for a motion from the committee.
I'll move for approval.
Any second?
I'll second that one.
Okay. Cindy, would you please call a roll for the vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Arnold,
Approve.
Mr. Berghausen,
Approve.
Ms. Martin,
Approved.
Ms. Johnson.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, somehow I've been interrupted. Approved.
Okay, Mr. Thomas,
Approved.
Mr. Farrell,
Approved.
and Mr. Fluker.
Approved. Now move on to item 6B of the agenda, which is the consideration of the proposed dates and times for applicant hearings. Everybody should have received a revised copy of that this morning. I know there was a preliminary copy that was put online with the meeting packet. I know there's one change. I think there was a typo, or at least a one problem with that original one. I think the Choral Society was listed twice, I think on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken, and that's been corrected in the revised edition. Is that correct, Zendaya?
Yes, sir, that is correct. We have added the Art League.
Yes, to their spot that was originally at 9, I guess the 9:30, 9:50 slot on that date.
Yes, sir. And just for all that are aware and present, the committee members, those that are in red, those are the applicants that have chosen that actual day for the hearings due to other conflicts that they could have had. So just so everyone is aware, those applicants that are in red are those that have chosen that particular day.
Okay, are there any questions or any comments by the committee? Just go ahead and chime in. And if not, the chair would suggest a motion on the approval.
I'll make the motion to approve the times that were handed out on the form.
I'll second that motion.
All right, now motion made and seconded. Zendaya, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Arnold,
Approved.
Mr. Berghausen,
Approved.
Ms. Martin,
Approved.
Ms. Johnson,
Approved.
Mr. Thomas,
Approved.
Mr. Farrell,
Approved.
Mr. Fluker.
Approved.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6C of the agenda of new business, the preliminary review of the 2022 accommodations tax grant applications. Before we get started on any discussions here today, I would like to make a statement as chairman of the committee. I believe we had 33 applicants. Well, let me put it this way. We had 32 applicants make timely applications for ATAX funding for the 2022 calendar year. There was one applicant that made a late filing. It is the position of the chair, upon approval of the committee at the time we take up these matters, that application that was untimely filed not be considered for funding unless and until all the other 32 timely filed applicants have been fully vetted, fully examined, and we've made final determination on those 32. If and when we have funding available for that 33rd applicant, then we would take up that application at that time. It may be that we take it up on the 4th along with the other applicants. It may be that we don't know on the 4th whether there's significant funding to move forward with that 33rd applicant. But that's the position of the chair. If we're up to the chair, we would not have accepted that untimely filing. Again, I'm not getting into, because I do not know why we accepted a late filing. It's very clear from our meetings that we've held since May of this year. There's at least 2 places on the application that state that the application had to be on file by the 3rd at 4:30 p.m., 4 o'clock p.m. And it's in the minutes of our last meeting, very clearly made that we would accept no applications after that time. So that, before we just start the preliminary review of those applications, I just wanted to make sure that I put my position in there, because it is one of the things that I decided when I got on this committee, and specifically once I was made chairman of the committee, that we would do everything above board. And one of the things that I've learned in 28 years of the active practice of law, 8 of which I was an assistant county attorney in my county, and for another number of years I was a member of the advisory committee, and I was a facilitator and mediator for the Chief Disciplinary Council of the Supreme Court of the state of Missouri, dealing with lawyers' ethics violations, is that there are rules. And those rules are not normally advisory, they are mandatory. And in that regard, I believe that the 32 timely filed applicants should take precedent over that 33rd applicant. And I'm making great pains not to say anything in detail, but we could if we wanted to about who that applicant is. I don't know that that is, should be or is a secret, but I'm just saying at this point that when we get to that applicant on the 4th and we're making a determination, it will be the position of the chair that we put a placeholder in that during our discussions until we finally and completely discuss the other 32 applicants. With that as the chair's position, is there any other discussion on the applications that have been filed thus far? If you want to,
Mr. Chairman, yeah.
yes,
Mr.
go
Chairman, I
ahead.
would just like to echo your comments. I'm not a big believer in the word fair, but I don't believe it would be fair to the other applicants that met the requirements and did submit on time. I'm hopeful that the grants that will be available for this year will be sufficient enough to cover that 33rd applicant, but I believe that that needs to be taken up after all the other timely applicants have been reviewed and requests been made. I would hate to be in a position where we were to award that late applicant and have to shave funding from a potential other applicant that was timely. So I do second your thoughts and concerns on that late entry.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman, I'm not
Yes,
sure if I can be seen. Somehow I'm blocked on my laptop on Zoom, but I agree with your position, and I'm so glad you're upholding the integrity of the process. Thank you for that, and I am in total agreement.
Thank you. Any other
Is it
comments?
appropriate,
Go ahead.
excuse me, Jim, is it appropriate for a motion to be made to accept your recommendation?
I don't believe so at this time. I think that's one of the things we would take up in the actual consideration on the 4th. I'm not looking for that at this time. I just wanted to let everybody know, because again, as a committee, we meet publicly during these meetings. We don't discuss these things ahead of time. And so I had not made my position available to all the members. I did have an opportunity to have a informal discussion with Mr. Burkhausen yesterday. We were dealing with other matters, and I just happened to tell him what my position would be. And so in order to not violate any of the FOIA laws by us meeting as a committee out of the public, I'm making my view known today at this meeting, and then we can take it up on the 4th when we take up the other matters.
If it's not appropriate for a motion, I just would second or echo your comments.
All right, thank you, sir.
And
Mr. Chairman.
really, I feel the exact same way.
All right, thank you.
I
Okay.
do too, Mr. Chairman. I do too. However, are there any circumstances that we should be aware of that were maybe out of the applicant's control, that maybe, I just want to make sure it wasn't if it's a self-inflicted wound, so be it. But if it's something that we did or something that administratively caused this delay, I would think we would consider that. But I agree with let's play by the rules, absolutely. However, if there's any additional information that this committee should be privy to, is it
I'm
available?
not.
I may.
Go ahead.
It's from my
Somebody else.
being that no, there were no staff issues that came regarding the application or the for getting into the application or any technical errors or such like that. So I will say that.
It's my understanding that if you look at the application, and I took a look at it, if you look at the organization's board meeting to approve their request, you'll see that that board meeting did not take place until I think it was about 10 to 12 days after our deadline.
Mhm.
I think this was a oops moment by that organization. This organization has been in front of us multiple times, and in fact, did seek and was granted an out of cycle grant during our summer period. And so I think it was just an organizational lapse. And again, because of that, and because of my history and in things with deadlines and timeframes and that kind of stuff, those really are not the problem of the board or the that you seek to relief from. And so it's an unfortunate situation, but I think we have to go by the rules. And I think once we look at the other 32 applicants and their full and separate applications and decide them on their merits, then we will decide at that point. That's my position. That's up to the committee on the 4th. Then we would decide what to do with that one. So I think we've discussed that matter. Are there any other questions or comments about the 33 applicants, but 32 timely filed applicants at this point?
This is Julie, just a quick question. Obviously this organization will be notified of our decision.
Yes, I'm sure that they will be notified, because I'm sure that I will instruct Zendaya at this point to notify them of this preliminary decision. Is that correct? Yes.
And I think at the same time, I think, it sets a good precedence for moving forward that, deadlines are important, and there's so many organizations that do apply for funds that it's important that everybody get in on time. So I think it sets a really good precedence.
And again, when this organization comes before us at their date, they are on the calendar to present to us. When they do, I'm going to ask them some very pointed questions, and I invite the remaining members of the committee to ask them questions about that. And they may admit some issues, and that's fine. This is a mea culpa type situation at that point, and but I don't know what our financial situation is going to be. I don't know that the city at this point does. Do we have any indications today of what our financial position will be yet?
Not at this time. I will remind all of you that we have had a little bit of a different year the last 2 years. The 2020 grants did carry over for an additional year. So the 2020 grants do not expire until December 31st, 2021. We also have the 2021 grants that you all awarded. Those do not expire until December 31st, 2021. And we had an out of cycle grant process, and those do not expire until December 31st, 2021. So we have a lot of moving parts at this point in time. And as soon as we have information and know, what is going to happen with those fundings, John will be able to let you all know. And as of right now, I assume that information will be available hopefully by our last meeting in October. So I'm anticipating that we have an early number that last week in October, going into that November 4th meeting for our review and awarding. So as information becomes available, I will let you all know. But we also, like I said, we have a lot of moving parts this year, and it's, we're just trying to work through them all.
Right. Zendaya, thank you. And yeah, and I don't know, John's not on this call, is he? Is John on the meeting today?
Mr. Fluker, yes, I am.
Oh, all right, John. Just want to, hello. Could you let us, make sure we have whatever numbers you have prior to our,
Absolutely. We will present, and we'll present with clarity for the committee. And so I have confidence in that, and to put you in the best position to make the decisions you need to make.
And it's my understanding, again, looking at the numbers, that the city is going to take their money off the top, which is the way the statute reads. Or the way I understood it from years past, they just chose not to do that in the past. So they're going to take whatever percentage. Again, I don't have that right in front of me right now, how that works out, but they're going to do that up front, and then we will have the remaining number for the other 32 applicants at this point.
That's correct. Yes, it is. And that's how we'll present that, but you'll see all the pieces of that. And so you'll see what town council has already decided, and you'll know the amounts.
Will that be done will they be doing their their work in an open meeting beforehand? Will they have that number and do that in a meeting beforehand?
Oh, it was approved through the budget process.
Okay. I just want
So-
to make sure how I understood that was going to be done, since there's always questions about our activities. I just wanted to make sure that I understood how that was done.
No, I will walk through that. I'll walk through the whole calculation probably in more detail than you want. And we'll go from there. But I think that's my goal, is what I will present to you. And I think Zendaya has said at the end of October. And so as you finish up the hearings and then move toward decision-making, then you'll know, okay, this is how much money we have to work with. And that's my goal, is to present to you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Troyer. All right. Is there any other questions or comments in my item 6C of the preliminary review of the accommodation tax applications?
Mr. Fluker, if I may?
Yes.
Now, I do want to ask, this meeting is more so for you all to give me a heads up of what it is that you may or may not need prior to those hearings. So I ask, is there anything that anyone has found that they need regarding the applications or clarification, any additional information that they may need? You can either say that now or either email me later and let me know if there are specific questions for the applicants that you should have.
I will email you with a couple of questions, Zendaya.
Sure.
Cindy, I'll also be emailing you with conflict of interest notification that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell, for that. And if there is anyone else that should have any conflict of interest, just as a reminder, those need to be done prior to each meeting. So if on that hearing day, there is someone that you have a conflict of interest with, if you can let me know prior, and I will get the necessary forms for you to sign, and that way we are in compliance with all of our applications.
Okay. If there are no further comments or questions about the applications or anything further at this time, and again, I'll give the committee a chance to sound out now.
One last thing, Mr. Fluker, I know that we have, I always do this to you all. I know that we have participants that are in the waiting room, and I just wanted to let you all and them know on record that is just in the chance that you all had questions that needed to be asked prior to the hearings. But as of now, the town is virtual with all of our meetings. So I would like to go on record and say that for the two hearing dates, October 14th and October 21st, those two meetings will be virtual, just as we did last year. And also, until further notice, the November 4th meeting is virtual also. So the town has implemented a virtual meetings policy, and that is what we're doing until further notice. So I just wanted to let you and everyone know that that is what we're doing going forward. And if something should change, I'll be sure to notify everyone.
Okay. All right. It does make the meeting a little bit longer, but that's okay. All right, without any further comments or such from the committee, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at this time. So thank you all. I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Thank
thank
Have a
you,
good day.
everybody.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Thank
now.